Hello, and welcome to Trans Truth, the podcast dedicated to dispelling myths, fear, and ignorance about transgender people. Along the way, we'll be sharing items of interest to the transgender community, from political and news events to health, fashion, and beauty. And now, let's have a look at some news items that should be of interest to our listeners. The Catholic News Agency reports that a whole 21 doctors from countries around the world wrote an open letter published in the Wall Street Journal on July 13th, wherein they claimed that, quote, the ongoing push to provide young children with transgender transition procedures is unsupported by current evidence, and that medical officials should shift their approaches to managing youth gender dysphoria, unquote. To this, we here at Trans Truth would observe that these 21 doctors from around the world must not be aware of the current evidence that has shaped the recommendations of the American Medical Association, the American Academy of Pediatrics, the American Psychological Association, and the American Psychiatric Association. All of these respected bodies recommend age-appropriate, evidence-based, gender-affirming care for patients experiencing gender dysphoria. We further note that this group of physicians is largely unqualified to speak to the efficacy of gender-affirming care and has offered nothing in the way of evidence supporting their radical views, nor have they suggested what approaches to managing pediatric gender dysphoria should be considered. It has been well established by credible studies that forcing a child who suffers from gender dysphoria to go through puberty as they're assigned at birth sex can produce lifelong negative consequences. Laws banning pediatric gender-affirming care, now on the books in 21 red states, are nothing more than wretched child abuse, the very thing that their misguided proponents promised to protect those children from. The UK's Daily Mail reported on July 8th that a North Carolina mother of a trans child taking puberty blockers has blasted state lawmakers' plans to ban those medications. Michael Dumas has been living as a boy since he was 5 years old. I'm not forcing this on my kid. I don't want to be doing that, but I absolutely 100% will, and I'll make sure, no matter what laws are in place, that he will get that health care. Put me in jail. I'll be your martyr. I don't care, said Dumas's mother to the Charlotte Observer. Governor Roy Cooper did veto the bill on July 5th, but lawmakers insist that they will continue to push laws between parents and the health care that they want for their children. Mike is lucky to have a true mama bear in his corner. Sky News Australia reports that Gen Z poster child Milo, who was the center of an MTV production Transformation in 2016, has chosen to detransition. Milo claims now that she has autism and should have been diagnosed before transitioning. This underscores what we have been saying since our first episode of Trans Truth, and what the standard of care, not to mention basic sound medical practice, has always called for. A proper diagnosis must precede any treatment. So we can add this case to the 1% failure rate for evidence-based gender-affirming care. That standards-based care has a 99% success rate. Why would anyone want to ban that type of treatment is utterly beyond me. Willful ignorance, I guess, is the reason. Austin's KXAN reports that 5 Texas families and 3 doctors have filed suit in Austin's Travis County District Court to stop the ban on trans care for minors mandated in the recently signed Senate Bill 14. The ACLU of Texas and Lambda Legal are on the case. Paul Castillo, senior counsel for Lambda Legal, said during a conference call last week, "To be clear, SB 14 is arbitrary, irrational, and oppressive. There is no lawful justification for interfering with the medically necessary provision of care that promotes the health and well-being of transgender youth." As I've already publicly stated, I saw this one coming from a mile away. The mama bears in Texas do not put up with anyone messing with their kids' health care. Fox News recently did a story about an ABC interview with the Department of Health and Human Services Assistant Secretary Rachel Levine. Throughout the article, Fox reported well-established facts, but it felt like they were considering that their viewers and readers would accept them as just more evidence of the woke agenda. For example, one paragraph read, Levine claimed in the ABC interview that young children are not getting gender-related surgeries or procedures, but that other interventions like hormones and speech therapies can help them explore it. Well, to that we say, yes, exactly right. Assistant Secretary Levine claimed it because that's what happened. The rest of the article was the same confused rambling, presenting well-established facts as if they were outrageous conspiracy theories. Then again, we are talking about content from Fox News. We'll be right back after a brief message from our sponsors. Coming up, our remote recording from the fundraiser for the Houston Roundup, made last Friday at the Lambda Center. We hope you enjoy hearing these interviews as much as we enjoyed capturing them for you. Here we go. Okay, welcome to a very special episode of Trans Truth. I am Kelly, she, her, hers, and I am joined as always by my co-host.
I'm Jeri Ann, she, her, and hers.
And we are at a fundraising event for the Houston Roundup. Houston Roundup, no, not the rodeo.
Not the rodeo.
That's Jeri's thing.
This is definitely not a rodeo.
This is a fundraiser for the Houston Roundup, which is an annual multi-day conference put on by the Lambda Center here in Houston. And the Lambda Center is an LGBTQ plus specific 12-step club, for lack of a better term. And we're going to have somebody here from the organization, maybe a bunch of somebody's, explaining in more detail what that's about. But we just found out about this event in time. It is a fundraiser, a spaghetti dinner, and a showing of the Rocky Horror Picture Show. Now, I asked Jeri Ann if she'd ever seen Rocky Horror, and she assured me she had. And when we got in the theater, the first thing she said was, "Well, is it a movie or is it going to be a stage show?"
What can I say? I don't know.
Yeah, and I said, you really haven't been to one, have you? Or it's been so long you don't remember. I think the first time I saw Rocky Horror was 40 years ago? Almost 40 years ago. 76. Good grief.
Well, I want you to know, Miss Kelly, that I have gone to town to the movie house at least a half dozen times. Can't recall seeing this movie.
Well, did you bring your props? Your toast, your deck of cards, your squirt gun? I beg your pardon? Well, we have just had our first guest walk up. Would you introduce yourself, sir?
My name is Don Kelly.
Don walked up to the table, and the first question he asked, if I heard him right over the noise, was, "Do you know Phyllis Fry?"
That is correct.
Yeah. And yes, we both know Phyllis.
Well, that's great. Phyllis is a wonderful person.
Yes, she is.
She has a new biography out. I recommend it. I have a copy of it. She's lived a full life.
That she has. When you say biography, is it a book?
Yes.
Excellent.
Yes. I think it's published by the A&M Press. I'm not sure about it.
Well, we will be sure and look it up and let people know about it.
Well,
how did you come to know Phyllis?
Well, I have a big LGBT collection of literature at Texas A&M, and if you can access by going Gay Don Kelly on Google, and you can find out about the collection. And of course, Phyllis is a graduate of Texas A&M.
Yes.
Right. Yeah, the community owes a great deal to Phyllis.
Oh, very much. Very much.
So what brings you to this event at the Lambda Center tonight?
Well, I'm an active member at Lambda Center, and
good for you.
This is a wonderful fundraiser for their annual roundup, and so I like to support it as best as I can, both financially and by being present.
Cool. Well, thank you for that.
Thank you for being here.
It's our pleasure. I was just telling our listeners that we only found out about this event, this fundraiser, like 2 days ago on Wednesday. So I reached out and said, hey, could we come and talk to people and find out more about this? And turns out we are welcomed with open arms. So we're happy to cross-promote, organizations, especially something for the LGBT, specifically for the substance abuse problem, which is so much greater in the LGBTQ community, especially for the T community.
That is correct.
Yeah, we kind of crammed doing our research, getting ready for this, and saw numbers that were just alarming, like 45% higher in the T community because of all the stressors.
Very much so. Increasingly so.
Yeah.
Increasingly so. Well, I'm happy to have me over, and I hope you have some other guests.
I expect we will.
And good luck to you, and thanks for supporting
our pleasure.
Lambda Center.
Our pleasure. Well, this is going to be fun to edit in post-production. As I was saying, so Jeri Ann asked me if it was going to be a movie or a stage show, and I said, you really haven't seen one of these, have you?
Well, I guess not. I guess not. But, this is an amazing thing. I'm looking across this giant room and these long tables with black tablecloths and mood lighting and everything decorated. It's pretty cool. And I overheard someone say that they actually cooked the pasta. So these people are going to enjoy homemade pasta.
I'm not sure how that decision got made. If I were in charge of the menu for dinner followed by the Rocky Horror Picture Show, I'd have served something that one could ask, another slice, anyone? Yeah, anyway, it's a spaghetti dinner. Like we said, this is a fundraiser. We're happy to be here to help promote the Lambda Center. Like we were speaking with Don just a few minutes ago, I didn't learn until yesterday as I was cramming, doing some research to get ready for this event, that the incidence of substance abuse and alcohol abuse is just alarmingly high in the trans community. And, not surprisingly, people have actually studied that, and it is the unique stressors that trans people face. I mean, I don't mean to minimize, what it's like for the LGBT community to deal with being gay, but lately especially, trans people have really suffered at the hands of the haters. We're going to have people get right on top of the microphone like I am.
Right. I'm going to try and catch somebody's eye and flag them over here next time I see somebody walk by in one of those costumes.
Jeri Ann just noticed one of the magenta characters moving about in the dining room.
Could have swore there was a French maid with fishnet stockings.
It has been a while, hasn't it?
Oh, she's going to talk to
Hello.
us. Cool.
Hi, Magenta.
How are you?
I'm well.
Get
How are you?
right on
Good.
top of that microphone.
How's
it.
that?
Perfect.
Awesome.
What's your real name?
Regina.
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 I'm Kelly. This is Jeri Ann.
Hi, Kelly and Jeri Ann.
Yep.
We do the Trans Truth podcast.
That is so awesome.
And so we're doing an in-person broadcast that we will launch very soon, next few days. So how are you connected to the Lambda Center and this event?
So I've been coming to Lambda since I got sober almost 15 years ago.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so I've been here a while. This is
You were 5 years old?
No. I was 27 when I got sober. And actually I had been in the closet until I got sober. And I had a psychiatrist who told me, oh, there's this Lambda Center, but it's gay. And I was like, okay, well, that's where I'm going. Don't ask me why. I'm going to do
Oh my
that.
goodness.
Yeah. And so I've been here ever since. And so I'm part of the Roundup committee. And so this is our fundraiser for the conference.
So you know a little bit about the Roundup.
Oh, yeah.
Tell us about that.
Okay, so it's a conference for LGBTQIA and allies and everybody. And it's specifically for AA, Al-Anon, and CMA. And it's a lot of fun. There are different workshops and speakers, and I'm the writer-director of the play this year. So we do a play. It's a lot of fun. I'm really excited about it. So we'll start rehearsing. Our auditions actually start on Sunday, and so we'll be rehearsing every week until Thanksgiving, when the conference is Thanksgiving weekend.
The play is part of the conference.
Yes, it is.
Cool.
It happens after the banquet.
What is the play?
So I am going to tell you, usually it's a secret what it is, but this year I'm like, I don't need secrets. It's going to be Buffy the Alcohol Slayer, the musical.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
We will not miss that.
And
Sounds
so
good.
it's lots of fun. It's gonna be a lot of fun. Yeah,
So I gave you a card, so keep
Yes.
us in the loop.
absolutely.
And anytime you think our presence would be beneficial to you, then just connect with us.
Yeah, you should absolutely come and see the show.
We'll definitely be there for the Roundup.
Awesome.
Yeah. I got to tell you, we're so excited to be here. We just learned about this event 2 days ago, and at the same time learned about the existence of Lambda and the Roundup. So
Yeah,
we were thrilled to be okayed to be here. Happy to be able to cross promote and do good things for the organization.
Yeah, Sharon told us about it and was like, is it okay, like, if they come? And it makes sense because it's an anonymous program, so we don't do a lot of promotion and stuff, but I think, like, trans visibility and safety and community is, like, so important. Like,
Yeah.
I'm really glad you guys are
Right.
here.
We're all about human rights and social justice
Yeah, absolutely.
for all human beings.
And especially with getting sober, it's such a vulnerable place where you have to be so open and honest.
Oh, yeah.
And like people have to know where they can go and be safe and accepted and loved.
So that I've never had to face substance abuse or 12-step programs, but I'm guessing that's a double whammy for the LGBT community to be that vulnerable in at least two ways.
It's a lot because like, well, one, being gay, like for myself being a lesbian, I know that having that kind of contributed to my substance abuse a little bit. So like it's really prevalent because like it can be like a coping device and self-medication. But then like when you're getting sober, you do have to get really honest with people who start off as strangers. And like I don't think I could have ever come to a place until I found Lambda because I just couldn't like feel safe. Like for me, safety is such a huge deal. Yeah.
You know, when you can't help how you are, but you have to keep it from your world, it creates a tremendous amount of angst.
Yeah.
And that angst is how I refer to it, manifests itself in many ways, and some of them are self-destructive.
Yeah.
Well, we are just hearing all kinds of success stories tonight, aren't we?
Our waitress, before we came here, we ate at Katz's.
Oh.
Our waitress was a member of Lambda.
Oh, cool. Wow. Yeah, we're everywhere.
Yeah, she was very, very proud to tell us that she has reached an important milestone in her life, and is going to be moving out of the group home where she's been living. And
wow, that's
yeah.
a huge deal.
So, yeah, this has been a very good night, and we're just getting started.
It's going to be so much fun. I'm so excited.
You're going to be on stage, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Doing the time warp.
So you know everyone who's involved here tonight. Is there someone else that we need to talk to? Will you send them our way?
Yes. How would, you can't talk to Magenta without talking to Columbia.
Okay.
So let me go get Columbia for you.
All right.
I'll be right back.
All right. See you later.
Thank you.
Well, I'm going to take a guess and say that the lady sitting down across from us is Columbia.
That's right. I am
Oh,
Columbia.
one more time. I had you on mute.
That's right. I am Columbia.
All right.
Oh my goodness, what a costume!
Tell us your real name if you want
Yeah,
to.
it's Eric N.
Hi, Eric N. I'm Kelly. This is Jeri Ann.
Hi, Jeri Ann. Hi, Kelly. Thank you for joining us tonight.
We are so pleased to be here.
That's great.
Just like we've been telling everybody, we only learned about this event 2 days ago.
Wow.
So we scrambled to say, hey, can we come and talk to people and find out about it? Because we're all about, as Jeri Ann says, social justice and
Human rights.
human rights.
That's right.
And we just kind of knew intuitively that the LGBTQ community had some significant challenges when it comes to substance and alcohol abuse. I did some quick research and found out it was especially high for the T community. So anything we can do to help, we are pleased as punch to do so.
That's great. I also had I went through it too, and I think a lot had to do with having to find who I really was, because I always pretended to be someone else, and that drove me to. I had so much anxiety and didn't love myself, so it drove me to use, because I wasn't happy. And it wasn't until I used that I felt comfortable, right? But then it took off a different monster.
Sure.
Yeah.
It dulls the pain.
It does. Exactly. That's what it did.
But it takes more and more to dull more and more pain.
Exactly. But, I just celebrated 8 years of sobriety. And
That's good
Wonderful.
for you.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And my life has changed completely. It really has. And I'd like to say that I've never been more in love with myself than I am now. And and the program here has helped us and the community, right? Because we don't have to go through that pain. We're here. We can all do
Right.
it together. We're not alone.
Is there? Stop me if I'm breaking rules of etiquette, but is there a unique component to an LGBTQ focused 12-step group that people like us wouldn't get elsewhere?
Well, I can be myself and not feel that I'm being judged, and that people actually understand the stuff that I've gone through, and especially when it comes to my sexuality, right? And being comfortable in talking about that. Whereas in maybe other groups, sometimes it's not safe to be able to do that. So, and I think the other thing is I'm able to hear my story here. I'm able to hear the
Yes,
stuff that I went through and be able to relate with all this stuff. Whereas maybe in a different club, I might not necessarily hear my story.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like I said, never been through a 12-step program, happily, but just started cramming on research about the unique challenges for our community when it comes to substance abuse. And I understand that the Lambda Center is somewhat distinguished in the United States by being one of the first longest running of its kind. Is that right?
That is correct. We've been, especially the Houston Lambda Center, and the fact that we actually have a clubhouse, that's huge because there's Lambdas everywhere else, but they don't necessarily have a clubhouse where we can just be here almost 24, I would say most of the day. I mean, we're open from 6:30 in the morning till like 10 or 11. And so this is a clubhouse. People can come here and hang out and be safe.
Yeah, we showed up early, of course, to set up, and there were people just hanging out. Didn't look like they were part of the show or the production or anything, just hanging out. Is that a usual day here?
It is.
Okay.
It's definitely is. I'd like to say that this is our chosen family, right? And this is where we can be and just hang out and be ourselves and have the love that we need.
Good. So after this event is over and the dust settles, is there another event, another project in the works?
Yes. So I'm the co-chair of the Roundup Committee, which is holding this. And what the Roundup Committee is an LGBTQ conference that we have in November for recovery for anyone that wants to come. And so we raise money to be able to hold that. And so throughout the year, we raise money to be able to do that. And our next event is going to be the service auction, where every people in the community donate their services, like massage or haircut or like lawn services or whatever their services are. We have a very talented community here, artists and stuff. And then we have an auction, and we have a silent auction, and we do that.
Well, we do the Trans Truth podcast to make the world a better place. So if any of your projects could benefit from our presence, would you please contact us? This is my card.
Yes.
And my personal cell number is on the back.
And if you would like some time for an exclusive one-on-one, less noisy background interview, feel free to contact us, and we can make it happen. We're all set up to do it remote, so if we can help promote the next fundraiser,
definitely. I think
stay in touch.
Yes,
Let's partner up.
I agree. I would love to do that. I really feel that our program has a lot to offer, and I feel like a lot of times, especially from my point of view, I thought that I was alone out there, and I didn't have anyone, and I just want to say that we're here for everyone. We're here for everyone, and support everyone, and love everyone. And we have a saying that says, we're gonna love you until you're ready to love yourself.
Oh, I love it.
I have a saying, I'm going to love you until you ask me why.
I like that. Yes, I like that.
Well, thanks
Columbia,
for joining us.
Columbia, thanks for stopping by.
Thank you for having me.
I love the blinky light LED bow tie. That is a nice touch.
So is there someone else that in the group, the cast, or anything that we need to talk to?
Yeah, I'll send them over here. I can.
Okay, good.
Yeah,
Good.
definitely.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Watch
you.
Take the headphones
yeah,
off.
that's right.
Well, Kelly, so far it's going great.
Yeah, we just got done talking with Columbia, and we looked, and the room filled up. They were all queued up outside. The double doors just off to our left, and if it's not sold out, it's going to be close.
Looks to me like there are more people standing outside that door than there are available chairs to sit in.
Well, I feel like I'm repeating myself, but we just learned about this worthy event 2 days ago. Lifted heaven and earth just a little bit to get ourselves here, and we will definitely be here for the next one, and we will be able to give everybody a heads up. Those of our listeners in the Houston area, you need to make a point to come support this group. Like we said, this is a fundraiser for the Houston Roundup, the local LGBTQ substance abuse conference that is held every November here in Houston. So we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back with another guest. And we're back. We have another guest. Introduce yourself, please.
My name is Jeri Ann Allen.
Get right on top of that microphone. If you need to adjust it, feel free.
Right, there we go.
Perfect.
Okay.
Julian,
Yes.
Are you affiliated with the organization, or more specifically with this event tonight?
Yes, I am. So I'm on the Roundup committee. And I come to Lambda regularly, and this is definitely a part of my life in a big way.
Well, I will say thank you to you as well. We're just so grateful for not being invited, but being accepted here. Like we've been telling everybody, we only found out about this event, and indeed about the Roundup and the Lambda Center 2 days ago. And we're just so excited to be here and support such a fantastic organization. We have heard nothing but success stories this evening, and since we came in the door and set up. I bet you've got one too.
Yes, and thank you for being here. I know when I first got sober, like one of the biggest obstacles was learning how to marry kind of my life outside of recovery and putting those things together. And the Lambda Center and Houston Roundup have been a cornerstone in me navigating that and learning how to do that successfully.
What's your next project, Julian?
My next project is going back to school. It's very cliche. People in recovery always want to get either into recovery or psychology, but that is what I'm going back to school for. So, yes.
I got to say, do not feel bad about cliches. This room is full of them, I'm sure.
Yes.
So, tell us your part in tonight's show.
So my part in the show is really just support. My skills are putting things in the microwave and running my mouth. So usually if I'm not doing one of those two things, just supporting. So yes.
Hand that boy a microphone.
So your job is to microwave the salad, or?
Yeah, just running some food today, making sure everyone feels supported, has everything that they need. And luckily a part of that is coming to talk to y'all.
Well, good.
And we appreciate that too.
Jeri Ann's going to give you a card. We're going to want you to get in touch with us when it's time to start promoting your next fundraiser event. We'll get you on. You've got a voice kind of made for broadcast.
Oh, don't tell me that. No.
Yeah. So we'd love to have you on. You can pitch the next project.
Okay.
Yeah, we can build a podcast episode around you and your story.
No, I'd
leverage
love
that talking about stuff skill.
Thank you. No, I'd love that. Yeah. All right. Thank you for the time.
Yeah, we like to share stories because there are people out there wondering, am I only one messed up?
Mm-hmm.
And there's comfort in finding out that no, you're not the only one, and to find out you're not that messed up. You can be fixed.
Yeah, no more or less than anybody else, just a little bit differently.
Different. But at the end of the day, we're all human beings. We're all human beings with value.
Yes.
Well, Julian, thank you for stopping by.
All right, thank you for having me.
Have a good evening. I hope the show is a success. I mean, it's been probably a good 15 years since I have seen the Rocky Horror Picture Show, so I'm looking forward to this.
I know it's been. I actually don't think I've seen it since I've been sober, so it'll be nice to remember everything. So yeah.
My goodness. Well, Julian, is there someone else that we just must talk to or must talk to us tonight?
If you have not talked to Katie, I will go grab her.
What character is she?
So she is not a character. She is running all of the
we
food
need
and
to
service
talk to
and
her.
everything.
That's the
she-
person
she's
we need to
coordinating
talk
that.
to.
We're going to talk to Sharon after the show. So if Katie's not too busy, we'll talk to her now, or we can talk to her later.
Yes, we're about to get going, so I'll go check in with her and then find a good time
go
to
see.
bring
Go
her
see
over
if
here.
she's available. Yeah.
All right, thanks, Julian.
Thanks, Julian.
Well, one of Jeri Ann's many far-flung acquaintances, Robin, just walked over to the table. And Jeri Ann couldn't even remember where she knew Robin from. Where did you guys
Well, I
Me.
suspected I could remember, and it was from
The Transgender Foundation of
Transgender-
America.
Right, Transgender Unity Banquet.
Yes, we
is
run
where
the
we have crossed
Unity
paths
Banquet.
many times. Yeah.
Yeah.
I sponsored a table
Yep.
last time
That we attended,
We attended, yeah.
Yes.
We haven't been in since the pandemic.
Right.
You know.
It's September 16th, and it's the longest running meal-oriented conference that brings community together, mainly for the trans community. And but it's the longest running nationwide event for the LGBT community in general. It's been going on for over 30 years now. So now it's mainly like transgender non-conforming allies, politicians, supportive churches, anybody who wants to just come and be in the space to share a meal, very like Southern style.
Yep.
We have good speakers. It goes towards scholarships, towards the funding for Pride events and the Transgender Day of Remembrance. So I've been on the board for a few years, and honestly, that's my favorite event because I love seeing so much diversity in one room. We don't get to see that a lot of times.
Yeah, it is definitely unique in that way. I can't think of another event that is anywhere close to it.
No.
When it comes to inclusive of the gender non-conforming community.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It may be the only time that youth see their elders in the same room and they can see like, oh, I can grow old too. I can have a profession also. I can be supported no matter how I am on the spectrum. And this year we're going to have speakers that are talking specifically for our health rights that'll be coming down from the state around a similar time, around September, however that applies. So we'll have a non-binary poet. We'll have a queer mother that has a trans gender non-conforming child. And so, I mean, it's going to be a really good variety and a perfect fun event. A lot of people mistake, reasonably so, that these connecting events are fundraisers. Ours is a fundraiser, like truly just to come together. We try to keep it as accessible as possible. So if you can't afford a ticket, just email through the website and the Transgender Foundation of America or unitybanquet.com, and we'll see if we can get you a ticket.
Well, we'll definitely do a few spots.
Yeah.
Promoting it
That'd be great.
on our podcast.
Would it be possible for us to set up a table at the banquet?
Oh, absolutely.
And-
Tickets
and-
are on sale now. And are you saying with the podcasts?
Yeah.
Right.
Let me check.
Yeah, please
I
do.
don't
Yeah.
have approval for that, but that might be really wonderful. Let's.
Here's my card
Okay.
and my personal cell phone on the back. So get back to me about that, and we'll see what we can do. We
Yeah.
have a busy schedule coming up, and I'm very busy. I'm volunteer with Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo, and I'm
Wonderful.
captain of my team
Okay.
this year, and that's keeping me very busy.
I think
But,
this you can make space for. I think it'd be good.
If you'll have us, we
Yeah.
will make time
Yeah.
for it. Yeah, we would love to be there.
Yeah.
Okay, one other thing. I was in a documentary a few years ago that was just crazy successful, won a lot of awards, and the director and the producer are a queer couple in California. They were in L.A.
Okay.
But they moved out of L.A. Anyway, they're great speakers.
Okay. We're always
And-
looking for speakers.
and they're on a mission
Okay.
for the queer community.
Wonderful.
And of course they produced this award-winning documentary,
Wonderful.
Our Dad Danielle, and it's going to be released for streaming services very soon.
Okay.
Very soon.
Okay. We're always open to speakers. We try to catch them when they're not in demand, because we don't usually pay very much since it is sort of a charity event. But
you know what?
yeah,
If they
everyone's
can just
invited.
express their message.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
If we can just
Absolutely.
get them here from California.
We could
it's
do a
not-
screening. That would be great. Houston's really film friendly. We love
Yeah.
indoor events because it's so hot. So it may coincide with the banquet, but it may coincide with something just
Sure.
separately planned.
Yeah.
We'd love to do things like that.
I think that'd be great.
If you'll send me your contact information, I will send you information on how to contact them.
Wonderful. Yeah, we look forward to that. We've
The production company is Melba Productions.
Okay.
And they do They do work just for the queer community.
Wonderful. We did a film showing with Sharon Franti. She produced a film in Houston, and with the way she was going to take her film onto the major screen, she had a bit of time to selectively show where she wanted to in communities. So over the pandemic especially, we did Zoom showings of her film, and it was a great way for us to get together and just like have a chat box and watch something from afar and not have to get dressed in any certain way or look any certain way, and just like watch parts of our community like Houston be on screen. It was really
This
wonderful.
film was done in Houston.
Oh.
And the primary actors, I guess you could say, or subjects,
Sure.
are area residents.
Okay, that's wonderful.
And it aired at the Vale Film Festival, Portland Film Festival,
it's making the rounds.
Manchester, England,
Okay.
Atlanta,
Good.
Charlotte.
we would love to see if we could do something about that.
I look forward to it because the two, that group and the Unity Committee are kind of made for each other.
Yeah,
so, yeah,
absolutely.
It's gonna be great.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you.
All right.
Thanks for joining us, Robin.
Thanks, Robin.
Bye.
And the lights just went down, so we're going to shut up for a while and take in the program. We'll be back. Well, the show just wrapped up. Been about, I think I said it's been 10, 15 years since I've seen Rocky Horror Picture Show, and it was fun. There were some live performers, as there always is at one of those shows, and everybody seems to have a very good time. Like, packed house, lots of money raised for the Houston Roundup.
We'll be in touch.
Okay.
Well, there goes Robin.
Well, what did you think, Jeri Ann?
Well, this not exactly my cup of tea, but it's been a good night. We, everybody's had a good time. It's good to see people having a good time, and
here's Rocky.
and it looks like we're
Grab-
ready for
grab the
another
cans there.
great interview. Well, hello, Rocky.
Oh, hi. How are y'all?
Good.
We're good.
I'm Jeri Ann. This is Kelly. We do
Hi,
the
Jeri Ann.
Trans Truth podcast.
Hi, Kelly.
Hi.
Thanks for coming tonight. I
Oh,
hope y'all had fun.
We did.
did.
It's
Okay.
always it's a pleasure to be able to come here and help promote the event.
Absolutely. And Lambda is one of the greatest places in the city. I mean, this place is one of the places that anyone and everyone can come to be themselves. And what a great movie that kind of shows that.
Well, Rocky, can we first have your name?
Oh, Forrest.
Forrest.
Yes.
Okay, so Forrest, what brought you to Lambda?
I struggled for a long time with drugs and alcohol, and I had a rough time for about 10 years, and I needed help. And after searching and lots of falling down and kind of trying to pick myself back up, I realized I needed a community, and this community was there for me, and it really turned things around. It was exactly what I needed. So I've found success in sobriety, and it's just been a wonderful experience so far.
Well, great. So, aside from this project, what other projects have y'all been involved in?
I've been here now for about a year, and Roundup is our big one. That's not through Lambda, it's kind of an independent, but Lambda in a way hosts our Roundup. And we've had a lot of game nights, and we had some drag shows, Mr. and Mrs. Lambda, which was wonderful. That's always, I think, the most popular one out of all the things that we do.
Cool.
Yeah.
Little technical problem here.
Yeah, a little technical problem.
Yeah.
We hear that same story.
You're needed up there.
Oh,
Picture time.
Okay.
Rocky's got
All right.
Rocky's got to join the rest of
Leave
the
the
cast.
headset.
for
Okay.
A curtain call.
Good talking to Forrest. Real up close.
Yeah.
Like this?
Yeah. Get right on top of that
Right
microphone.
on top of
there
it,
you
right
go.
there? Okay,
That
fantastic.
works. Introduce yourself.
Sure thing. I'm Sharon Ferranti and Sharon F. I'm the director of Rocky Horror Picture Show and the chairperson of the Roundup this year.
Okay,
cool.
so we're talking to a genuine VIP now.
I don't know about that,
Well,
but no.
how do you think it went?
I am so pleased.
Oh, it was wonderful. It really was.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I am so pleased with one month of preparation to do.
I know. That's
this much
amazing.
of a show. So I kept checking the audience, and everybody was really leaning in the whole time.
Oh
so.
yeah, they were. It was a success, but everybody had a wonderful time.
See, that's the thing. Everybody had a wonderful time being sober. Everybody had a wonderful time being queer, and being in community, being ourselves.
Yeah.
And it's really difficult to articulate why you want to do. Why does this carry on? Why is this custom, this tradition of Rocky Horror Picture Show? Why this absurd thing moves forward? This is why.
I think so. Would that more people get it?
Yeah, would that more people get it? I mean, but we're special. That's why we get it. I'm sorry, but that's just true. That's how I feel.
Well, and we talk a lot about the haters and how they don't get it, and
Right.
it's beyond anything, it's sad that
I
they are
completely
so
agree.
frightened and so ignorant of how nice things like this really are.
Right? It's completely harmless
Yes.
and so silly. It's just ridiculous. The whole thing is just ridiculous. There's nothing to get offended by. One should get offended by violence. One should get offended
Yeah.
by meanness, but certainly not drag and movies and songs.
That is what put the hook in me for Rocky Horror. I was living in San Antonio in 1976, and one of the radio stations played the soundtrack album.
Uh-huh.
Heard nothing about it, but the music was so good.
The music is so good. It's so unusual and quirky.
Yep.
And also as a filmmaker, I feel like this screenplay is strangely well structured, because it shouldn't make such a good play, but it does, because you've got these characters that are introduced in such a way that just when you get ready for something new to happen, it does. And
Yeah.
you meet a new character, and you go in a new place, and everybody shines. I felt like we crossed the finish line and succeeded when I cast this show. These people, just other recovering addicts like myself from around here, they turned out to be such an amazing cast. They were perfect.
Was casting a challenge at all? Were you struggling to find people? Would you have too many?
I had the luxury of this. This is true. I had the luxury of very little time, so I didn't have to go through auditions. I could just think, all right, Yayan might be able to play more than one role. All right, Yayan could have played Frankenfurter as well as Brad, but there was nobody else who could play Brad. He was the one and only Brad. So, okay, that one's done. You know what I mean? And then it was also about getting people to say yes. That was a little challenging,
Okay.
Especially Rocky. He'd never done anything like this before. And so, getting people to say yes, it took a little applying.
Forrest did an amazing job.
He didn't he? Wasn't he the
did.
most?
Yeah.
He did. And one thing I picked up on, we interviewed several of your cast members already.
Right.
And one thing I picked up in our interviews and in watching the production, there was a sense of wanting to pay back.
Oh my goodness.
There was an eagerness on their part to pay back.
Beautiful. So beautiful.
Because in the interviews, their interviews were touching, and they were touched. They were touched to their soul by the community that helped them out of addiction.
That's
And they're
the truth.
so proud of their sobriety. And so that's what I picked up on. I'm going to cry. This sense of them being eager to pay back,
To pay
give back to the community, to their support system, to the organization, to
Well,
whatever. The
Thank
universe,
you for bringing it
their
back
universe.
to recovery. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. The community. is clearly important to everybody that we talk to.
Lambda Center is a very unique place, and the Houston Roundup is a very unique thing, the conference that we have, the reason that we're raising money tonight for the Houston Roundup in November. But it's for Lambda Center and the Houston Roundup. We go to all of this trouble, and it's a lot of effort and time because of that, because somebody was sitting here when we got here. When I got here 36 years ago, there were people in the room. We weren't in this building. We were in another little building over on Joanne, and I was desperate, and I was a completely different person than I am now. And there were people there. If I had gotten there and the room was empty, or the door was closed because nobody had paid the rent, then I don't know what I would have done, because it was really difficult to sober up in a world where you can't be yourself and you can't talk about what's really going on.
We heard that from almost everybody we talked to.
Got it.
And I have to confess, I had never really thought about it. Of course, I've never had substance abuse challenges.
Right.
So, but how double hard it must be to deal with that and the thing that so many people hate you for.
Well, I got here in 1987, and we had a lot to deal with. It was as hard to be queer then as it suddenly is now, I'm sad to say, but also AIDS. This organization, this place, Lambda Center, lost hundreds of people. And so we're here to pay back for a lot of different reasons.
So you've been here quite a while.
I have. Yes.
Tell us a little bit about this Lambda Center and its history here in Houston.
Yeah, I would be happy to. It started with about a dozen folks, some of whom are still alive. Some have passed away, but the gay alcoholics would all try to gather together and go over to these other clubs, these heterosexual establishments, and they weren't. Sometimes they were treated great, but sometimes they weren't. And they kept wanting to find a place where they didn't have to deal with that. And so they started a little meeting at first and found a place to meet. And as that grew, then they found a building to have meetings in instead of just finding a meeting, right?
When was that?
I would say that was around 1980, 1981.
Okay.
Over Lambda Center over on Joanne. And also Lambda Center Houston played a huge part in the formation of what is gay AA worldwide. Lambda Center Houston sponsored the very first hospitality suite at the international conference in 1981. And at that hospitality suite at the international conference, AA conference, is not gay. And so to have in 1981 a little tiny organization like Lambda Center Houston traipse over to New Orleans, bring all our stuff, set up all whatever we could to tell people we're here and we want to help and we want to be accepted. And so the world of Alcoholics Anonymous in general began to open its arms to gays and alcoholics, and we became a somewhat protected class in Alcoholics Anonymous. As a result, some of the people who still attend Lambda Center Houston basically invented gay AA that we sit in meetings with today. They basically invented it. This building, we moved over here and bought this building, I think in 1996, right around there. And this building is paid for now, in the middle of Montrose, this incredibly valuable real estate.
Oh my God, yeah.
Right? We own this building. And why do we own this building? No one can tell us to leave. They can't triple the rent. They can't say, if you do drag, we're not going to sell you insurance. We own the building. We're self-supporting through our own contributions.
Well, that's great. One of the interviewees said that this is my chosen family.
Yeah.
And your family is very important to everyone because family is who we do life with.
Right.
And your given family may not want you. But if you can't have your given family, you can have your chosen family. And thank you for being here.
My pleasure.
And being family to people who need one.
Thank you for being here. I really appreciate you guys, and your organization being here.
Well,
for us.
we hope to be welcomed at your conference in November.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely.
We are pleased that we can offer anything to such a noble organization.
Thank
frankly, so it's an honor to be here.
Yeah. Beautiful.
And hopefully we can help you out.
That's what I hope
in
too.
many ways. And,
Both of us. Do you want me to find someone else for you to interview, or are you wrapping it up?
If there's anybody you think we should talk to, sure.
Well,
If
my
not,
brother played Frankenfurter, so I don't know if you
cool.
spoke to him.
Okay.
Let me go get
Right.
him.
I think Janet's been
Leave
waiting to talk
headsets.
to you
Oh,
too.
Janet,
So, grab the cans. Another guest just sat down to talk to us. Get right up on that microphone
Okay.
and tell us who you are.
Hi, my name is Christene Yanniga. I am actually a professor. I work for Lone Star College, and I'm actually a DC teacher at a high school. But I'm a trained historian, and I actually specialize in gender and sexuality, specifically looking at the feminist movement and the LGBTQ plus movement.
We need to talk to you one-on-one for a future
So,
episode. Would you be
you're-
willing to do that?
Oh yeah.
Oh, great.
Actually, at the high school I work at, I actually work with the GSA, and I'll go in and I'll give them like the whole history of gay Americans and all that they've gone through within the United States.
I'm being mercenary here. I can tell that you've got all kinds of interesting stories to tell. I'm kind of an armchair history buff myself, so somebody that has an affinity for our history, our collective group history is cool.
And I think it's also really important because, like, especially working with like kids, a lot of those kids, they don't realize that they do have a history, and that they, as a marginalized group, have actually gone through so much already in this country, and they do have a narrative within this country as a group of people.
Yeah.
And it's so important to see like how many people have fought. Like when you look at like Sylvia Rivera, who actually called out like the gay movement and was like, you're completely ignoring us as trans women. Like, we are the people that are actually shoved in the prisons. We are the ones that are raped. And she stood up to them. She was like, we are just as important as you. I mean, even when you look at Stonewall, it was really the flame queens.
It was.
They were the one. Yeah, they were the ones that really actually started it. And it's so important to know, like, this isn't a new thing. It has been going on for so long. And people have been fighting since, like, the 1920s. The very first gay society was actually started in that time period. And even later on in the 1950s, you get the Mattachine Society, you get the Daughters of Bilitis. And even people focus so much on Stonewall, but then they completely forget about everything that had happened in California previously with like the New Year's ball and like all of this stuff, and going into like the meat district and seeing like there's just so much. There's just so much, and people just don't understand. Like, it's this beautiful, rich history that, yes, we still need more for gay people in this country, trans people, all kinds of people, but what we have today, people have fought and died for. And it's important that those people are not forgotten, because it's just like for like your average like cis person that looks at like, I don't know, like Abraham Lincoln or something, they have people that are just as important to them as well.
Yes. Yeah. Jeri Ann is a lifelong educator.
Oh, okay.
And teacher, school administrator, principal. So I bet she's got a question or two.
So what high school do you teach at?
I teach at Jersey Village High School.
And that's a public school.
Yeah. Yeah, it's an ISD. It's part of Sci-Fair.
And you
Okay.
get away with talking about gender?
Yes. So luckily, since I'm technically a dual credit professor, so I'm actually employed by Lone Star College, so I have more academic freedom. Now,
Okay.
there's some things that I can't touch on, obviously, like critical race theory. Another big thing is it's important. Like, we don't implement our own opinions, but gender is an important thing to look at.
You can still say gay.
Yeah. Sorry.
So do you have a connection with Rice University?
No. That'd be nice if I did. That'd be really nice.
Well, they have a department of gender studies.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah, I've been to some activities there and lectures and what have you. Are you familiar with Dr. Susan Stryker?
Yes.
Okay.
There's another one that I really like, and I always forget his name.
I saw her lecture at Rice about 6 years ago.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing. People always think gender is just like male or female, but really gender is very fluid.
It is. And you know what? Genderqueer people have always been since the dawn of time. It's not a decision. You can't help being born that way.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I never wanted to be transgender. Wouldn't wish it on an enemy.
Right.
But I can't change it.
Well, and the other thing is, too, it's not just within the United States. Like, we have primary source evidence that proves that it has been going on for centuries.
Sure, of course.
So
it's a human condition.
Yeah, people act like it's this new crazy thing, but like really, when we look at documentation, it's not at all new. And the other thing too is
it's an explosion. It's It's this woke explosion. They're coming out of the woodwork.
It's a campaign of indoctrination.
I know.
My gosh, they're grooming our children.
What I like to tell people that are struggling, with thinking that they're abnormal is you are as normal as anybody else. You are unusual. We're only 1/2 to 2% of the population, depending on the study you read.
Yeah.
But it's a normally occurring variation.
And these kids, they need that support. It's like they think like we're pushing on the kids, like, oh, tell us your pronouns, and that's not at all. I've never met a teacher that does that. Generally, what we do is like, at the beginning, we're just like, oh, if you have different pronouns or you have another name, just let me know. I don't want to call you by your dead name or anything like that. And the other thing that I think is really important, too, with these kids is a lot of them are still trying to figure themselves out. So I'll have some kids that at the beginning of the semester, these might be their pronouns, this might be their name. Halfway through, it can change, it can go back. And it's important that we tell the kids, that's fine. That's totally fine. You can change as much as you need to. You can change your pronouns and your names hundreds of times. That's better than me finding out that you've hurt yourself. And that's something that we have to keep in mind with these kids, because I think one of the big things that a lot of them tell me about is that they don't see a lot of adults that are gay, that are trans, that are gender neutral. So it's really important for them to have people that are understanding of that sympathize with them and let them know that that's fine. You can change as many times as you need to. Like, you don't have to decide at 15 or 16 what you want to be. And no matter what you decide to be, we will be there to support you and love you throughout it.
Oh, that is so subversive. That is so dangerous.
I just gave you my personal contact information. Okay. If you need a guest speaker.
Thank you.
Whatever I can do for you.
Yeah.
But for sure we need to get her back.
Oh, yeah. You dropped the names of, 2 or 3 organizations, clubs, something like that, that's going to be research fodder for probably several episodes. So, we will.
It's a fascinating thing. Like, a lot of people don't. Again, it's just such a rich, intriguing, beautiful history. I mean, even just looking at how Soho develops. I mean, and Soho's been around since like the progressive era. Again, not a new thing, not at all new. There are a lot of gay communities that have been in the United States for a long time. And actually, the biggest peak in history is post-World War II. That's another thing a lot of people don't realize. World War II
Never knew that. Yeah.
World War II is huge. It's huge because this is the first time that these people are away from home, so they can be themselves. And the other thing is, we even have primary source documentation that proves that even our heterosexual soldiers, they knew and they had no problems with it. It just wasn't a big deal, and there was a lot of support throughout it.
Well, we're here tonight because substance abuse is of concern for the trans community also. And I've not seen a single trans woman here that I picked up on. So we want to be the connection from Lambda to the trans community. We weren't here but a few minutes this evening, and a guy came over and introduced himself and said, "Do you know Phyllis Fry?" I'm just out of the blue. He said, "Do you know Phyllis Fry?" I said, "Well, yeah, she's my attorney." So,
yeah, we social justice, human rights is our primary mission, but we talk about everything that can be of benefit to the T community, and we generally use the transgender umbrella to include all gender non-conforming people.
Yeah.
And I literally learned about this event and Lambda 2 days ago.
Yeah.
So I've been doing some research, and I was not surprised, but still stunned to find out how much higher substance abuse and alcoholism is in the transgender community.
Yeah, I know another big thing is with Sylvia Rivera and Marsha P. Johnson, their big thing was helping homeless trans youth in East Coast. That was a big thing that they did for a very long time. Because I know even Sylvia Rivera herself, she really struggled a lot with substance abuse too.
are you familiar with Andrea?
Not that one.
Andrea Molina? She's a Mexican woman. She was undocumented for many years, but she runs a shelter for Latina trans women here in Houston.
Oh, okay. That's awesome. I think that's good. I think that's a great thing because I think
you need to look into Andrea, Casa Andrea, Andrea. Casa Andrea is the name of her shelter. It's a big 3-story house.
She is a force. She you know who Monica Roberts was, of course. She's like the Latina Monica Roberts.
That's great. That's a good thing. Yeah, and I mean, a lot of times people don't realize that, especially historically speaking for the trans community, it was especially hard for minority groups because, with that community, you have this history of, machismo. So to come out as trans when that's something that's so integral to that community for so long because what they had endured as a people, I mean, you were completely ostracized. I mean, it was one of the worst things that you can do. So, I mean, to just be trans, a minority, and a woman all at once, to have all three of those hitting against you.
We know we have a mutual friend who is an attorney and has done a lot of pro bono work for trans women fleeing Mexico and Central America. Literally fleeing for their lives.
Yeah.
It's just, and Andrea is an absolutely essential resource. You've mentioned, East Coast, and you mentioned Stonewall. I got to ask, have you seen the movie The Stroll?
No.
Oh, you need to see it.
I've seen the movie Stonewall. I actually would use it in a lesson when I was just teaching at the college to talk about popular interpretations because, I mean, the main character is the straightest.
I haven't seen Stonewall. No.
It's a horrible movie.
It's Dr. Stryker.
Okay. Well, I mean, the movie, I don't know. I feel like it's just very whitewashed, and they try to make the main character straight as possible.
Oh, dear.
But what I would do is I would have my students, again, this was a college lesson, I couldn't do this at the high school. I would have students watch the movie, but then I would actually have them listen to recordings. There's a really good podcast called Making Gay History, and he actually has recordings of people that were at Stonewall, and they would talk about it. And it was great because the students can see, you have popular interpretations, you have these movies. So you have people going out watching these movies, and this is what they associate with this community, when in actuality, it's taking away from, how long the mafia and the police had been involved, how long they had been harassing and arresting those people. It completely, it barely even touches on the depth of the aggression and assaults really that they went through.
Yeah. Stories like that hide the truth.
They do, and it's very problematic because a lot of people watch them. They're like, "Oh, this is such a good movie. This must be true," and that couldn't be further from the case.
Anyway, the Stroll is about late 70s through the 80s.
Mhm.
It's what they called the stretch of, and I forget the name of the street, in the meatpacking district.
Okay, yeah, on the West Coast.
In New York City, where
Oh.
all of the trans sex workers were. It was conceived and put together by one of the former workers there. Interviewed a lot of her friends and acquaintances from there.
Mhm.
Beautifully done.
Yeah.
Just absolutely touching. Will bring you to tears. So highly recommended. You're
Yeah.
going to enjoy it.
I'll watch it. I always love watching that kind of stuff.
Well, thank you so much. Please reach out
Yes.
either to Jeri Ann, or you can just you can reach us via the comment section on our website, transtruth.info, not com, info.
Good.
And we will put some things together.
Awesome. Sounds
All
great.
right.
It was nice meeting you guys.
You too. Thanks for stopping by.
Thanks.
Ride didn't leave.
Oh no. Oh gosh.
Well, Kelly, what a night.
Yeah.
My gosh. Some great people, some great interviews, a great show.
We will we'll probably wrap up with some final comments as we do post-production on this episode. But we're glad you joined us. Hope you enjoyed it. You have been listening to Trans Truth, the podcast that speaks the truth about what it means to be transgender. If you are transgender yourself, you have a friend or loved one who is transgender, or if you are simply looking to understand more about the transgender experience, we hope that you have found this episode to be informative and enlightening. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to contact us at info@transtruth.info. Copyright 2023 Trans Truth.